A devastating bomb cyclone, dubbed a once-in-a-decade event, swept across the northwest United States and parts of Canada, unleashing hurricane-force winds, toppling trees, and leaving widespread destruction in its wake. The storm's impact was felt from British Columbia to Northern California, with millions affected by power outages, infrastructure damage, and emergency rescues. The storm claimed its first fatality in Linwood, Washington, where a woman in her 50s lost her life after a tree fell on a homeless encampment. Local authorities confirmed the incident, highlighting the heightened risk posed by unstable trees during the storm. The Linwood Fire Department issued a statement urging residents to avoid wooded areas and remain indoors during severe weather. "This storm is not to be taken lightly," said Fire Chief David Carlson. "Falling trees are unpredictable and pose life-threatening risks." Massive power outages left hundreds of thousands in the dark across the affected regions. In Washington state, over 650,000 customers experienced outages, with the hardest hit areas including Seattle, Tacoma, and Olympia. In British Columbia, approximately 140,000 residents were left without electricity, particularly on Vancouver Island and the Lower Mainland. California also reported 24,000 outages, primarily in its northern regions. Utility crews worked around the clock to restore power, but officials warned that some areas could remain without electricity for days due to extensive damage to power lines. "The safety of our crews and the public is our top priority," said Puget Sound Energy spokesperson Maria Delaney. The bomb cyclone delivered hurricane-force wind gusts that caused significant structural and environmental damage. British Columbia's coastal areas recorded gusts up to 101 miles per hour, while Washington state reported winds reaching 77 miles per hour in locations such as the Olympic Peninsula and Mount Rainier. Northern California experienced gusts of up to 80 miles per hour at higher elevations, and western Oregon saw sustained winds of 30 to 50 miles per hour, with gusts exceeding 70 miles per hour offshore. These winds uprooted trees, smashed vehicles, and tore through roofs. Emergency services in multiple regions responded to reports of injuries caused by falling debris and trees, prompting authorities to issue urgent safety warnings. Emergency responders conducted high-stakes rescues across the storm-hit regions. In Maple Valley, Washington, 2 people were trapped after a tree crushed their trailer. Firefighters performed an hour-long extrication to save one individual, who was later hospitalized with serious injuries. In Stanwood, Washington, an Amtrak train carrying 47 passengers collided with a fallen tree on the tracks. Although no injuries were reported, the train was rendered inoperable, causing delays and stranding passengers temporarily. Fire departments across the region issued warnings for residents to avoid unnecessary travel and stay indoors, emphasizing the dangers posed by falling trees and downed power lines. "Please stay home and off the roads if you can," urged Maple Valley Fire Chief Allison Briggs. "The storm has created hazardous conditions that could put lives at risk." Numerous school districts in western Washington, including Seattle, Bellevue, and Tacoma, canceled classes and after-school activities due to power outages and unsafe travel conditions. Public transportation systems were also disrupted, with delays and cancellations reported on bus and rail services. The National Weather Service, NWS, had issued high wind warnings and advisories across the Pacific Northwest prior to the storm's arrival. Residents were advised to secure outdoor furniture, avoid driving during peak wind hours, and prepare emergency kits with flashlights, batteries, and non-perishable food. Local authorities continue to urge caution as crews work to clear debris and restore critical services. Anyone encountering a downed power line is advised to stay at least 30 feet away and report the hazard to local utilities. Emergency management teams are coordinating efforts to address the aftermath of the storm. Utility companies have deployed additional crews, while shelters are being set up for displaced residents. Officials caution that strong winds and scattered power outages may persist in the coming days as the system moves eastward. For updates, Residents are encouraged to monitor local news channels and follow social media accounts of emergency agencies.